Hello folks, this is Johnny again. Now in my last video or the video before that, I mentioned that I have had some slightly unpredictable problems with my interface again lately. And that's what this video about. Basically, what happens is after some time my mic preamps, or in general just the preamps in the interface, start to make more noise. And I can't predict when it happens or why it happens. I just don't understand it. And here's the project to show you the noise floor of these preamps. So we have two tracks, and these are the two mic preamps in the front of the interface. In this first section here, no microphone is connected. So this is just a pure noise coming from the preamps. Then in the second section here, the dynamic mic is connected, but it's turned off. And then in the third section here, I connected the condenser microphone, but the phantom power is turned off. So basically also the microphone is turned off. And then you can see for all of these three sections, I have two recordings. The first one is when everything is still fine and dandy. That's just the normal noise coming from the preamps, nothing else is happening. And then after time, when the problems start to appear, that's where these second recordings come into place. And you can already see in the waveform that there is some real funky stuff happening here. It is quite weird. And now I want to walk you through all of these noise profiles and what's happening. I boosted every recording a whopping 24 dB as much as it goes, so we can actually really hear it. And also we have a frequency analyzer here, so we can also see what's happening. So let's check out all of these recordings, shall we? So first run, no microphones connected, just a normal noise. Alright, so here we see your normal flat white noise. And then these two spikes up here that are kind of weird. But okay, something like this is to be expected. That's pretty normal. Let's compare this with the second mic input. So the noise sounds the same, but these two spikes are much lower. They don't really poke out like that. Okay, kind of interesting. Now let's check out here the weird problem. So we don't hear much of a difference. Even with the headphones I'm using right now, I don't hear that big of a difference, because what's happening is below 100 Hertz, the noise starts to slope up for whatever reason. But that is such a low region here, this whole frequency range, where it becomes really drastic, that it barely comes through all that noticeable. But still it's there. Okay, the problem is still there, and you can also see here with the other mics, it does become a real problem. Let's just check this against the other mic input. Okay, same thing with the noise, but the two spikes again are much lower somehow. So there seems to be a difference between the two mic inputs somehow. It's weird. It's really weird. Now with the dynamic microphone connected. Okay, not sure why that is. The noise floor is much lower in volume, and also the two spikes, at first they're there and then they drop down. And you have a very clean, smooth noise that's really not a problem. That's just a normal noise you would usually have. Let's check that again with the second mic input. Same thing. Let's compare it again with the first one. Okay, now let's check again where the problem arises. Okay, here we can see that slope already starts at 200 Hz. Goes up quite drastically. With the other microphone it started only at about 100 Hz and now it goes up to 200 Hz. And when you're using decent headphones you do start to hear it. It's kind of weird. Let's check again with the second mic input. Same problem, but not as drastic. Now let's go to the condenser mic, and here things just get weird. I'm no expert on any of the technical stuff, but I think that's kind of weird and annoying that just by plugging a different microphone into the input, you get this different kind of noise and also a louder noise, even though the microphone itself is turned off. But who knows what kind of stuff the microphone construction is picking up from the outside. I have no idea. All I know is kind of weird how these two spikes just go really high and how the noise sounds really weird. The second mic input actually sounds exactly the same. Now let's check out this one here. Oh my goodness. Okay, and there you have it. To me, that kind of problem just should not happen. Even with the more budget home production interfaces. This kind of problem, I don't know, to me that's just not acceptable. And you may wonder, well, how is it actually in a recording setting? Because so far I've been showing you all of the stuff with the mics turned off. And let me draw your attention to this project. So this is the audio recording for when I plan to make videos for my Ibanez Geo modifications. But since that project was a bit messy, it didn't make it into a full-fledged video series. So the video I recorded here didn't actually make it out to the general public. But I still have the audio recording here, which I did with my condenser microphone. And let me show you what kind of problems I ran into with this one. So here at the beginning, everything is still fine and dandy. To drop A, I have my reworked Ibanez that's in standard tuning to accompany the 7th string, but I need something in the middle as well. So I like drop B quite a bit. Okay, there's no noise. I mean, yeah, the sound is a bit roomy, but that's because the mic was a bit further away and whatnot. And now let's see back here. Not quite at 30 minutes of recording yet. Listen to this. Now, soldering again. That is a useless recording. That excessive noise is rendering everything useless. It's so annoying. That is so not acceptable. But let's listen on. Listen what happens back here. White and red wire go together. Let's solder them together and then tape them off. Here. This in here. Yeah, totally weird. And then the noise drops down a little bit, but it's still there. And then the volume rises up again to some point, and then after that it makes this weird big ploppy sound here again, and then the noise is gone again. I have absolutely no idea what's happening. but it's definitely making recording quite difficult. The one thing is though, with the dynamic mic, that problem doesn't really show all that much for whatever reason. But I have a very cheap dynamic mic and it doesn't sound so good, and it needs a lot of post-processing to make it sound anywhere decent. And also the output level is very low, so I have to crank the gain on the interface all the way up. The condenser microphone is much more pleasant to work with. It has a good amount of output and it sounds very nice as it is. I don't have to do a whole lot of post-processing to make it sound decent. But yeah, the noise just becomes quite out of control after time. And again, I have no idea what's going on. But what I know is I have to get rid of this interface and get me a new one. I need to check what I can still do with the warranty. I only had this interface for about a year now. So I guess I could get a replacement or something, and then I'm going to sell that and get me a new interface. And I know which one I want to get me. It has some really cool features that I can make very good use of, especially for recording videos here on my PC. And yes, so I have a plan at least. And now what's the point of this video? To be honest, I'm not quite sure myself. All that I showed you here are the problems I'm dealing with right now with my Scarlett 6i6 first generation interface. For me personally, I'm wondering right now if I let my judgment cloud up by the hype. Because at the time when I was still deciding on what interface to get, I also looked around in forums and lots of people liked the Scarlett interfaces, so I went with that. And now I'm kind of disappointed in it. The DI quality is quite the garbage in my opinion. The preamps are acting up in here. It's actually not just the mic preamps, also the two additional analog inputs on the back of the interface are also making this kind of sound. It's just, I don't know. I'm guessing the point is, don't let any hype cloud your judgment. Try to test things out for yourself, go at it as unbiased as possible and with an open mind, and really see for yourself if a product is actually as good for you as people make it out to be. That's also why for the new interface I want to get me, I actually read through the manual. I watched some tutorials on how it sets up and all the possibilities you have with it. Reviews, unfortunately, I have to say, are getting kind of lazy these days. A lot of people just pretty much just read the description of the features of this interface to you. Stuff that you can read for yourself on the webpage of any set product. But the reviews rarely go into any nitty-gritty details and the strength of an interface and also the flaws of an interface and any tips on how to make the best use of a product. I don't see that too often these days, and that kind of makes me a little bit sad. But oh well, and I don't really want to rant about reviews right now, that's not the point of this video. I wish you a great day and have fun mixing.